Muy bien. Today you guys are going to learn about some reflexive verbs. Reflexive verbs describe actions that involve oneself, which means that the person doing the action also receives the action. For example, I brush my teeth. I am doing that back to me. Reflexive pronouns are used with reflexive verbs in Spanish, and they indicate that the subject of the sentence receives the action of the verb. Some examples of reflexive verbs in Spanish are acostarse, bañarse, ducharse, lavarse, peinarse, and secarse. These are all, and other verbs are found in your vocabulary list for Lección 2 under the Vida Diaria section. What is it that all these verbs have in common? That's right, they all end in se. When an infinitive verb ends in se, you'll know that it is a reflexive verb. The se is what will change, that is in according to the subject along with the ending of the verb. In order to conjugate a reflexive verb, the first thing you do is you drop off the se, and you change the pronoun according to the subject. So me, te, se, nos, os, se. El, usted, and ellos, ellas, and ustedes are the same, but you'll know by the actual verb ending. They'll have different endings if it's an el, usted verb or if it's an ellos, ellas, ustedes verb. Once you've dropped off and changed that se, that goes in front or before the conjugated verb. Then you're left with a regular AR, ER, IR verb. So, for example, ponerse, once you drop off that se, you're just left with poner. You conjugate poner just like you always would. Vestirse, you drop off that se, you're left with vestir, regular, or it's an IR verb. And despertarse, you drop off that se and you'll be left with an AR verb. So, these are the endings that you'd still use your regular present tense endings that you have in your regular present tense notes. So using lavarse as a regular AR verb, and it's a reflexive, in your notes, conjugate lavarse in all 6 forms. You should have written me lavo, te lavas, se lava, nos lavamos, os lavais, se lavan. Again, you're noticing that the me matches with the yo form ending. Te matches with the to form ending. Se matches with el, usted, nos with nosotros, os with vosotros, and se with an. Those always have to match up in order to correctly reflect the reflexive action. You still have to be careful that some verbs are also stem changers. For example, acostarse is an O to UE stem changer. Despertarse is E to IE. Dormirse, O to UE. And ponerse, remember the yo form of poner in present tense is pongo. Again, the se comes off the end of each of these verbs. You put them in front, me, te, se, nos, os, se, and conjugate the verb that's left as a regular AR, ER, IR verb. So go ahead and pause and conjugate the verbs as they are listed on your note sheet. Acostarse, afeitarse, bañarse, despertarse, dormirse, levantarse, maquillarse, peinarse, ponerse, secarse. Here are the correct conjugations for acostarse and afeitarse. Check your reflexive pronoun and your ending. There's bañarse and despertarse. Remember, despertarse is a boot verb. Dormirse, another boot verb. Levantarse. Maquillarse, peinarse, all those endings are matching their pronouns. Ponerse, there's that irregular yo form verb, and then you have to be careful. These are ER endings because poner is an ER verb. And finally, you have secarse. You can also use reflexive verbs as an infinitive. When that's the case, you have the first verb, which is conjugated, and the reflexive verb will be an infinitive. When a reflexive verb follows a conjugated verb, you keep the reflexive verb as an infinitive, so you make sure you keep the AR, ER, IR, but then you keep the pronoun in the end, but you still have to change the pronoun to match the subject. For example, I need to bathe every night. I need is conjugated. Bañar is in the infinitive, but notice me is changed as necesito is in the yo form. You can write the same sentence putting the me in front of the conjugated verb. So I could also say me necesito bañar. So you either attach it like in the first example, or you put it in front of the conjugated verb in the second example. Another example is we have to wash our hands before eating. Tenemos, we have. That's the conjugated verb. Lavar is in the infinitive. Nos is in that form because nosotros is the subject, and that's how tenemos is conjugated. Nos is attached to lavar. Or you could write it nos, putting the nos all the way in front of the conjugated verb. Tenemos que lavar las manos. Both examples are right. You can, whatever is more comfortable for you, you can either put the pronoun before the conjugated verb or attach the infinitive. So on your note sheet, you have 3 separate sentences that you should write both ways. Once with the pronoun attached to the end of the infinitive verb, and once before the conjugated verb. There are clues in the parentheses of what the conjugated verb should look like. We'll go over those tomorrow as we go over the notes. Buena suerte.